The heart attack that nearly kills you isn't always physical. Sometimes it's the silent one, watching your child walk away, hearing those final words from someone you loved, reading that text message that changed everything. Your heart has been quietly collapsing, one disappointment at a time, one betrayal after another, one loss piled upon countless others. You've become an expert at functioning with a fractured heart, mastering the art of smiling through the wreckage. But that constant ache in your chest isn't just pain, it's your heart screaming for revolution, demanding not just healing, but complete transformation. The room falls silent. Your heart beats. Once, twice. In this moment, between these heartbeats, lies the most powerful truth you'll ever encounter. Your heart knows the way home. Not the heart that pumps blood through your veins, but that sacred space within you that holds your deepest truths, your raw pain, and your infinite capacity to heal. Right now in this very room, we're all carrying invisible wounds. Some are fresh and bleeding. Others have turned to scars, and many have become so familiar we've stopped noticing their weight. We've learned to smile through the age, to function despite the heaviness, to keep moving forward even when every step feels like walking on broken glass. But what if this pain isn't just something to endure? What if it's actually a compass pointing toward your most profound transformation? The truth that nobody talks about is that your heartache isn't a mistake. It's not a punishment. It's not even a setback. It's an invitation to become more fully yourself than you've ever been before. Every time your heart breaks, it breaks open. And in that opening lies the potential for something extraordinary. Just as a seed must crack open before it can grow into a tree, sometimes our hearts must break before they can expand into something greater than we ever imagined possible. The real tragedy isn't that we experience pain. It's that we've been taught to hide it, to suppress it, to run from it. We've become masters of distraction, experts at looking fine while feeling broken. We fill our lives with noise to drown out the whispers of our hearts. We stay busy to avoid staying present. We reach for anything that promises to numb the ache, even if that numbness also steals our capacity for joy. But it isn't passive. It isn't something that happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Real healing, the kind that transforms your entire life, is an active choice you make moment by moment. It's a journey that requires your full participation, your complete presence, and your unwavering commitment to your own growth. Today, we're going to explore 5 essential steps to heal your heart. Not just temporarily patch it up, not just push down the pain until it resurfaces later, but truly heal it from the inside out. These steps aren't just theory. They're practical tools that have transformed countless lives, and they can transform yours too. Before we begin this journey together, understand this: your heart's capacity to heal is infinitely greater than its capacity to hurt. Every wound you've received, every disappointment you've endured, every betrayal you've survived, your heart has the power to not just recover from these experiences, but to use them as fuel for your evolution. The first step in this healing journey is what I call embracing the echo. This step challenges everything you've been taught about dealing with emotional pain. Society tells us to get over it quickly, to stay positive, to keep moving forward. But what if moving forward isn't about leaving your pain behind? What if it's about learning to listen to what your pain is trying to tell you? Think of emotional pain as a messenger. When you touch a hot stove, physical pain sends an immediate signal to protect you. Emotional pain works in much the same way. It's not there to torture you. It's there to teach you. Every heartache carries within it a message, a lesson, a truth that's trying to emerge. Take this moment now. Feel the weight of whatever you're carrying. Notice how your body holds it. Notice where the tension lives, where the heaviness settles. Instead of trying to push it away or pretend it's not there, simply acknowledge its presence. This isn't about wallowing in pain. It's about honoring your experience, about treating your own heart with the same compassion you'd offer a dear friend. When you stop fighting your pain, something remarkable happens. The grip loosens ever so slightly. Not because the pain has disappeared, But because you're no longer adding the additional layer of resistance, of self-judgment, of thinking this is the essence of embracing the echo. It's understanding that your pain has a purpose. Every difficult emotion is like an echo bouncing off the walls of your heart, trying to show you something essential about yourself, about your needs, about your path forward. Consider what's truly behind your heartache. Beyond the surface story, beyond the immediate trigger, what deeper truth is trying to emerge? Often, what we're really mourning isn't just the person who left or the opportunity that slipped away. It's the future we had imagined, the beliefs that got shattered, or the parts of ourselves we lost along the way. When we begin to listen to these echoes, truly listen, we discover that healing isn't about returning to who we were before the hurt. It's about becoming who we were always meant to be. The pain isn't destroying you. It's destroying the limitations that have been keeping you small. As we move into the second step of healing your heart, we enter what I call the sacred space of release. Most of us carry around a museum of past hurts. We've carefully preserved every disappointment, cataloged every betrayal, archived every moment when life didn't meet our expectations. We think holding on to these memories protects us, but in reality, it's like drinking poison and expecting someone else to feel sick. The second step is about understanding that letting go isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of profound courage. It's about recognizing that your hands cannot receive new blessings if they're still clutching old burdens. But here's the crucial part that most people miss. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending the hurt never happened. It means choosing to stop letting that hurt control your present and dictate your future. Think about what you're holding on to right now. Maybe it's resentment towards someone who hurt you. Maybe it's anger at yourself for choices you made. Maybe it's grief over dreams that never materialized. Whatever it is, notice how it feels in your body. Notice the weight of it. Notice how much energy it takes to keep carrying it. There's a truth that might shake. That person who hurt you, they're probably not thinking about it anymore. That mistake you made years ago, you're the only one still punishing yourself for it. That opportunity you missed. Holding on to the regret won't create a time machine to take you back and change it. The price of holding on to pain is giving up your power to create something new. Every moment you spend replaying old hurts is a moment you could be using to write a new story. Every ounce of energy you invest in resentment is energy you could be investing in your growth, your joy, your future. But release isn't something that happens in an instant. It's not about making grand declarations or dramatic gestures. It's a gentle daily practice of choosing peace over being right, choosing growth over grievance, choosing freedom over familiarity. Here's a powerful practice I want to share with you. Each morning before you start your day, take a moment to identify one thing you're ready to release. It might be as small as letting go of an irritation from yesterday, or as significant as releasing a long-held grudge. The size doesn't matter. What matters is the practice of consciously choosing what you want to carry forward and what you're ready to leave behind. The third step in our journey is what I call reclaiming your truth. This is where transformation really begins to take root. You see, beneath every heartbreak, every disappointment, every moment of pain, there's a story we've been telling ourselves. Sometimes these stories were given to us by others, parents, society, past experiences. Sometimes we created these stories ourselves as a way to make sense of our pain. I'm not enough. I don't deserve love. I always mess things up. Nobody can be trusted. It's too late for me. These stories become the lenses through which we review everything in our lives. They color every experience, influence every decision, and shape every relationship. But here's the revolutionary truth. Just because a story has been with you for a long time doesn't mean it's true. Just because it feels familiar doesn't mean it serves you. You have the power right now, in this moment, to examine these stories and decide which ones you want to keep and which ones you're ready to rewrite. Think about the stories you've been telling yourself about your heart's capacity to heal. Maybe you've been telling yourself that you're too broken, too damaged, too scarred to ever be whole again. Maybe you've convinced yourself that your pain is unique, that no one else could possibly understand what you're going through. But what if these stories are just that, stories? What if they're not facts but interpretations? What if you could look at your experiences through a different lens? What if, instead of seeing your struggles as evidence of your weakness, you could see them as proof of your resilience? This is where the real work of healing begins. It's about becoming conscious of the narratives that have been running your life and having the courage to question them. It's about understanding that you are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not the things that happened to you. You are the awareness that witnesses all of these things, and you have the power to choose how you, in every experience in your life, even the painful ones, has been shaping you for something greater. Every disappointment has been teaching you what you truly value. Every heartbreak has been showing you where you need to grow. Every setback has been preparing you for your next leap forward. But to access this wisdom, you need to be willing to look at your experiences with new eyes. You need to be willing to ask yourself, what if this pain isn't punishment but preparation? What if this challenge isn't an obstacle but an opportunity? What if this heartbreak isn't an ending but a beginning? The process of reclaiming your truth requires radical honesty with yourself. It means looking at the ways you might have been complicit in your own suffering. It means acknowledging the patterns you keep repeating, the boundaries you keep allowing others to cross, the compromises you keep making with your own values. This isn't about blame. It's about empowerment. Because once you see these patterns clearly, you can begin to change them. Once you understand the role you've been playing in your own story, you can begin to write a new role for yourself. Start by examining one story that's been limiting you. Maybe it's the story that you're unlovable. Maybe it's the story that you don't deserve success. Maybe it's the story that you're not strong enough to handle what life throws at you. Take that story out and look at it in the light of day. Where did this story come from? Who gave it to me? Or did I create it to protect myself? What evidence am I using to support this story? Most importantly, what evidence exists that might contradict this story? Remember times when you've been loved, even if the relationship ended. Remember successes you've had, even if they were small. Remember challenges you've overcome, even if they were difficult. These aren't exceptions to your story. They're glimpses of your true capacity. Now, this is where most people get stuck. They understand intellectually that their limiting stories aren't true, but they still feel true. This is because we've been rehearsing these old stories for so long that they've become deeply embedded in our emotional and physical experience. The key to changing this lies in creating new experiences that contradict your old stories. If your story is that you're unlovable, practice loving yourself in small ways each day. If your story is that you're not strong enough, take on small challenges and gradually build your resilience. If your story is that you don't deserve success, set small goals and celebrate when you achieve them. Each time you act in opposition to your limiting stories, you create new neural pathways in your brain. Each time you choose a different response, you weaken the hold of old patterns. Each time you demonstrate to yourself that a different reality is possible, you make it easier to believe in that new reality. This is why the process of reclaiming your truth isn't just mental. It's physical, emotional, and spiritual. It requires engaging your whole being in the creation of a new narrative. It requires being willing to feel uncomfortable as you step out of familiar patterns. It requires trusting that the discomfort of growth is better than the comfort of staying stuck. As you do this work, remember that you're not trying to create a perfect story. You're not trying to pretend that everything is wonderful all the time. You're simply creating a more honest, more empowering interpretation of your experiences. One that acknowledges both your wounds and your wisdom, both your struggles and your strength. The fourth step in healing your heart leads us into what I call the alchemy of acceptance. This is perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of healing because many confuse acceptance with resignation. They think accepting means giving up, surrendering to circumstances, or condoning what happened. But true acceptance is something far more powerful. It's the foundation of all genuine transformation. Think of acceptance as the soil in which healing grows. Just as a seed needs fertile ground to transform into a flower, your heart needs the ground of acceptance to transform pain into wisdom. Without acceptance, we remain in constant battle with reality, exhausting ourselves fighting against what has already happened, depleting the very energy we need for healing. But here's where it gets interesting and challenging. Acceptance isn't just about accepting the things that happen to you. It's about accepting all of yourself, the parts you're proud of and the parts you'd rather hide, the strengths and the weaknesses, the victories and the failures, the love you're capable of and the anger you sometimes feel. Most of us walk around with an idealized version of who we think we should be. We carry this perfect image in our minds and then punish ourselves constantly for falling short of it. We think if we're hard enough on ourselves, we'll somehow force ourselves into becoming that ideal person. But has that ever worked? Has beating yourself up ever truly created lasting positive change? Real change begins with complete acceptance of what is. As long as you're at war with yourself, as long as you're rejecting parts of your experience or parts of yourself, you remain stuck in patterns of resistance that actually prevent the very transformation you're seeking. Let me share something profound about the nature of acceptance. When you truly accept something, you stop fighting it. When you stop fighting it, you can finally see it clearly. And when you can see something clearly, you can understand what it's trying to teach you. Take your emotions, for instance. Many of us have been taught that certain emotions are bad or wrong. We've learned to judge ourselves for feeling angry, ashamed, jealous, or afraid. But emotions aren't good or bad. They're information. They're messages from your inner wisdom trying to tell you something important about your needs, your boundaries, your values. When you accept all your emotions without judgment, something remarkable happens. They begin to move through you more freely. They no longer get stuck in patterns of resistance. They deliver their message and then naturally transform. This brings us to a crucial aspect of the alchemy of acceptance, self-compassion. Most people find it easier to show compassion to others than to themselves. We can understand and forgive others' mistakes, but we hold ourselves to impossible standards of perfection. Imagine treating yourself with the same kindness you'd show to a dear friend who's hurting. Imagine speaking to yourself with the same gentle understanding you'd offer to a child who's learning something new. Imagine giving yourself the same patience you extend to others who are going through difficult times. This isn't about making excuses or avoiding responsibility for your actions. It's about creating an internal environment where growth and healing can flourish. Plants don't grow well in harsh. Neither does your heart. The practice of self-compassion begins with catching yourself in moments of self-judgment. Notice the harsh inner dialogue. Notice the demanding expectations. Notice the rigid rules you've created for yourself. Then consciously choose to speak to yourself with kindness. Not because you're perfect, but because you're human. Not because you never make mistakes, but because making mistakes is how we learn and grow. Each time you notice self-judgment arising, pause and ask yourself, what would love say here? Not permissive love that ignores truth, but wise love that understands human nature and holds space for growth. Let that be your guide in moments of difficulty. The alchemy of acceptance also extends to accepting the timing of your healing journey. Many of us try to rush healing because we're uncomfortable with the in-between state of transformation. We want to get from wounded to healed as quickly as possible. But healing has its own timeline, its own wisdom. Think of how a broken bone heals. You can't rush it. You can create optimal conditions for healing, rest, proper nutrition, following medical advice, but the actual process of knitting bone back together happens in its own time. Your heart works the same way. You can create conditions that support healing, but you must also trust the process and its timing. This brings us to another crucial aspect of acceptance. Accepting that healing isn't linear. It doesn't proceed in a straight line from hurt to healed. It's more like a spiral where you may revisit old wounds, but from a different level of understanding each time. Some days you'll feel strong and peaceful, like you finally moved past the pain. Other days, something will trigger old feelings and you'll wonder if you've made any progress at all. This isn't failure, it's the natural rhythm of healing. Each time you cycle back to an old wound with new awareness, You have the opportunity to heal it at a deeper level. Accept these cycles. Accept that some days will be easier than others. Accept that healing often involves 2 steps forward and 1 step back. This acceptance itself becomes a form of progress because it allows you to stop wasting energy fighting against the natural process of transformation. The alchemy of acceptance also involves accepting that some questions may never have satisfying answers. Many of us get stuck trying to understand why did this happen to me? Why did they do that? Why couldn't things have been different? While understanding can be helpful, sometimes the deepest healing comes from accepting that some things simply cannot be fully understood from our current perspective. This doesn't mean you stop seeking understanding or that you don't learn from your experiences. It means you stop making your peace dependent on having all the answers. You stop holding your healing hostage to things beyond your control, like other people's choices or explanations that may never come. What can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to grow stronger? What wisdom have I gained that I can share with others? How can this pain be transformed into purpose? The alchemy of acceptance also includes accepting that you may never be the same person you were before your heart was broken, and that this might actually be a good thing. Often, we resist healing because we're trying to get back to who we were before the pain. But transformation doesn't work backward. It moves you forward into a new version of yourself, one that includes the wisdom gained through your experiences. Think of the Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. The resulting piece is more beautiful and valuable than the original, not despite its breaks, but because of how they've been transformed. Your heart can be like this too. The places where you've been broken and healed can become the places where your light shines most brightly. This acceptance of yourself, your emotions, your journey, and your transformation creates the container in which genuine healing can occur. It's like clearing the ground and preparing the soil before planting a garden. Without this preparation, even the strongest seeds struggle to grow. The 4th step leads us to the alchemy of acceptance, a profound turning point where true transformation begins. Many misinterpret acceptance as defeat or resignation. In reality, acceptance is the most powerful catalyst for change we possess. It's the difference between swimming against a current, exhausting yourself while staying in place, and learning to flow with the water, directing your energy toward actual movement. Consider for a moment all the energy you've spent resisting what already is. The countless hours spent wishing things were different, replaying scenarios with alternative endings, arguing with reality itself. This resistance, though natural, creates a prison of pain where healing cannot enter. Acceptance means acknowledging the truth of your experience without trying to change it, fix it, or make it go away. It's about creating space around your pain instead of being consumed by it. When you truly accept where you are, you release the enormous energy it takes to deny your reality. This released energy becomes available for actual healing and growth. But acceptance goes deeper than just accepting circumstances. It requires embracing all aspects of yourself, your perceived flaws, your mistakes, your humanity. Most of us carry an idealized version of who we should be, constantly measuring ourselves against this impossible standard. We believe that if we criticize ourselves enough, somehow we'll transform into that perfect version. Yet has that ever worked? Has self-judgment ever created lasting positive change? True healing begins when you stop trying to edit your story and start trying to understand it. Every emotion you feel, even the uncomfortable ones, carries wisdom. Anger shows you where your boundaries have been crossed. Fear points to what you value and want to protect. Sadness reveals what matters most to you. When you accept these emotions as messengers rather than enemies, they can guide you toward healing. Consider your heart like a garden. You can't force flowers to bloom by pulling on them. You create conditions that support growth, rich soil, adequate water, proper sunlight. Similarly, you can't force healing through criticism and you create conditions for healing through acceptance and understanding. This brings us to an essential aspect of acceptance, self-compassion. Imagine speaking to yourself as you would to someone you deeply love who's going through a difficult time? Would you berate them for not healing faster? Would you shame them for having feelings? Would you tell them to just get over it? Yet how often do we direct such harsh words toward ourselves? Start catching those moments of self-judgment. When you notice yourself being harsh, pause and ask, what would love say here? Not permissive love that ignores truth, but wise love that understands human nature and holds space. Let that be your internal compass. Remember, acceptance isn't about liking or approving of everything. It's about acknowledging what is so you can work with reality rather than against it. It's about creating a foundation solid enough to support real change. As we draw our exploration to a close, understand that healing your heart isn't a destination. It's a journey of continuous unfolding. Each step we've discussed today builds upon the others, creating a spiral of growth that continues to expand and deepen throughout your life. The path ahead may not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Every time you choose to face your pain with courage, every time you practice acceptance instead of resistance, every time you respond with compassion instead of judgment, you're not just healing your own heart. You're contributing to the healing of our collective heart. Take these tools with you. Use them daily. Let them guide you back to yourself when you feel lost. Remember that healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you've always been beneath the layers of protection and pain. Your heart knows the way home. Trust its wisdom, listen to its guidance, honor its timing. And most importantly, keep showing up for yourself. Day after day, moment by moment, heartbeat by heartbeat. You leave this space today, carry with you this truth. You are not broken. You are breaking open. And in that opening lies the potential for a life more beautiful than anything you've imagined possible. Your heart's capacity to heal is infinite. Your potential for transformation is limitless. And your journey of healing is one of the most important contributions you'll make to our world. Let each step forward be guided by love. Love for yourself, love for others, love for the journey itself. For in the end, love is both the path and the destination. It's the force that breaks us open, and it's the force that makes us whole again. Stand now in the power of your own heart's wisdom. Trust the journey ahead. And remember that every moment holds the potential for healing, for growth, for transformation. Your heart is ready. The time is now. The journey continues. Thank you for opening your hearts and minds to this exploration of healing. May you walk forward with renewed courage, deeper compassion, and unwavering trust in your heart's capacity to heal and transform. The greatest journey you'll ever take is the journey of healing your heart. And that journey begins anew with every breath, every choice, every moment you choose love over fear, truth over comfort, and growth over stagnation. Your heart is calling you home. Answer its call.